We are so excited to announce that we are being sponsored by Aya Paper. Aya Paper is an eco-friendly card company launched in 2019 by Savon Anderson, and all of their materials for their stationery products are sustainable and 100% recyclable, which we absolutely love. And so they have this kinfolk deck, which is affirmations, meditations, and reflections for families and communities. I love their pins because they have sayings on them. Like this one says, less planning and more manifesting. And they also have these great cards that are so freaking cute. I love this one that says, women like you make life so much sweeter. So you have to check it out. Again, it is 100% recycled material, and you can find it at Aya paper.co. And since you are one of our listeners, we would love to offer you a discount code, which is BWHPod. I'm not going to tell you how much it takes off because that is a surprise, but you do get a nice discount. So again, it's BWHPod. Again, that's Aya paper.co. And let's go ahead and show them some love by shopping with them.
Black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real. You just gotta take your time, unwind and chill. Cause now it's time to love yourself, build emotional and mental health. Cause black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real. Hey y'all, we're back with another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast, and today we have another special guest. But before we get started, we're going to start with our this or that segment, and I already know what we're going to talk about. So this or that, I'm thinking, and it'll make sense as we introduce our guests and start talking more. But so braids are wigs. Braids are wigs, right? I'll go first. I want to say braids. I know I got this wig on, but I would choose braids all day, every day. Wigs, like it gives something different, but it just feel like something's on my head. And I just feel like braids are it's just more historical context. It just feels more like authentic for me personally. I just think about getting my hair braided when I was a kid and like that piece of it, like the like my childhood experiences even with braids and how I've seen like the the evolution of just our recreation as well, because I feel like a lot of times like, oh yeah, people did that braid style been around, right? People are just recreating it. So I would choose braids. Myra, what about you? Braids or wigs?
When have you ever seen me wear a wig?
You had your headband wig on.
I've never really worn a wig. So like I love how they look on people, but I've never been into wigs. I'm more so like a weave girl. But
Mm.
I love braids, and y'all, Sade did my hair, I wanna say like a month or two ago. And like the way people were like surrounding me, I was like, I don't know if I like this attention, but I kind of do like the attention because they was all into it. So for me, it's definitely braids, especially because like I'm that person. I told you this, Sade. Like I choose certain braiders because I want to come to you and say braid my hair. Like I want 2 layers braided. Like I don't have pictures of styles and stuff like that. You do what you're gonna do because I know your hands are gonna get creative, and that's when I look in a mirror and I see it. Yeah, I love braids. I just feel like they're just so fun. What about you, Sade? What do you love?
Of course, braids. And I'm not only biased, I mean, it's the reason why I chose to specifically focus on braids. You know, I started off doing wigs and press and curl and all that stuff too, but I chose to just specifically focus on braids because I love it. I mean, outside of it being nostalgic, to me, you know, since I was a kid, I was braiding my own hair to school. You know, I couldn't afford getting my hair done all the time. So I would braid individuals with a little beehive in the middle if I needed to. Like I would do that. So I have a special connection to braids, braiding my friends' hair, like all of that. And just as far as the look, I feel like you guys said, like the evolution of braids is become more creative, but it's also nostalgic because a lot of the styles that we see today have been around. They're just a little different. And you know, you can get creative with them. You can get in the water, you can go to the gym. Like it doesn't limit us as Black women as well, because we have to be conscious of our hair with a lot of things. So I think that braids just makes us feel more comfortable as well. Like we don't have to worry about getting up super early, doing our hair. Like there's so many elements to it. So I say braids, and I've never been a wig person anyway.
Definitely. So we're all aligned today. I love that. Um, so I'll go ahead and introduce our guest. Today we have Sade Miller. Sade Miller has simultaneously asserted herself as a successful entrepreneur and previous music industry executive. She owns and operates Sade Styles Beauty Supply and Braid Lounge in Gardena and owns Styles Company Salon Suites in Lawndale. Along the way, her career has notably been chronicled by Homegrown Radio, Sheen Magazine, LA Sentinel, Bombshell by Bleu, and more. She now adds author to her diverse scope of talents, penning her literary New Growth, a journey towards wellness and self-worth. Yes, Sade. Yes. Come on,
Just
Bible.
gave me butterflies with you reading that. I'm like, yes. It's one thing to see it
That's
written down.
you.
But when people are saying this, like, damn, you did that, girl.
Yes, that is you. And I love it. So let's just get into it. How did you become an entrepreneur? And also, I'm just thinking of the term in general. Like, what does entrepreneur even mean to you?
Okay, so I'll start with how I became an entrepreneur. As a young girl, I was the only child in the house, not the only child, period, but in the house. So, for all my only child people out here growing up, we've had to get creative. I would play with my dolls, I would create I would like play school and, just all the only child things. And so, it just showed like gave me that sense of like my own boss in a way, and then also problem solving, and that's also what I think that entrepreneurship means as well. Entrepreneurship is creating solutions to different problems, whether it's from things that you feel like the world needs or in the industry that you're choosing. But entrepreneurship is strictly that: you're problem solving, you're creating solutions for things that you feel that people need or desire or whatever the case is. And also, I always knew that I was creative. And a lot of people hear the word creative and think of like arts, like the arts. And although that is true, I feel like problem solving is also in the lane of creativeness. You're creating and becoming strategic with the way that you're going to attack things, the way that you're going to market, the way that you're going to create products, all those things. So yeah, entrepreneurship is definitely problem solving.
Before we carry on, I'm curious because don't you have a PR background?
Yes, so I actually went to Cal State Fullerton and got my degree in communications, emphasis public relations. So after school, because I couldn't land any jobs because you had to get internships, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to do an internship and go to school. So I actually created my own um, agency, and I will just represent local talent and started from there. Then I eventually interned with Echo Haddix, Echo and Sounds, and then I had landed Purple Agency, which is a prestigious PR firm, Black owned in the industry that is well respected. So that's really where I became, more prestigious in the industry and working with, bigger talent.
Now I was curious because when you're talking about like being the only child in your home, and you missed this part of your journey because I think that everything kind of traces through and adds up, and so it kind of leads me to this next question I wanted to ask you of when you have interactions with maybe clients or customers, or even thinking about when you were in PR. What are some of the key ways that you strive to make people feel?
I think it goes back to my own thing, because braiding to me has been therapeutic. I am a sexual assault survivor. So, it's always been that one thing that that's been like very therapeutic, where I can just cope with. So, I always wanted to feel secure. I always wanted to feel confident. I always wanted to have peace. So honestly, that's what I try to give to my clientele, for them to feel confident, to feel secured and just cared about. And even when it comes to different podcasts that I watch and, different things that I know that would give, sometimes I've put on podcasts and the message is for them, and my clients end up being like, oh my God, like, how'd you know I needed to hear that today? And that's my purpose. I have you guys been to the salon. It says you are more than just a braider on there. That was purposeful because there's so many reasons why, and we can get into that later. But the main reason for this segment is that I just want people to understand that as stylists, our job is to make you guys feel secure, confident, and just cared about.
Yes, I so appreciate that. And y'all, when I went to the shop, these are important things to me that you did that not a lot of people do. You were like, oh, tell me about your last hairstyle. And so I told you about my last hairstyle. And then you had also asked me, like, do you have like any concerns or something like that? And I was like going in, telling you all these details. And you were like, okay, well, this will work for this. And we're going to do this. Like, you talked me through it. Well, oftentimes I find like I'll tell someone that's going to do my hair something I've been struggling with, and they'll mark it off as something, and I'll be like, that was not what I said. And then they like just do my hair as usual, and then I have the same issue with my hair. And so you listened to me, and I didn't have the issue that I was telling you that I was having. And I was like, wow, I actually feel like I was heard. My hair actually lasted in the ways that I wanted. And then when you put out the little massage thing, I was like, okay, what's going on here? Now you do it too much. Right? But that was so in alignment, that made sense. Like, you turned on the stuff that I like to watch on TV, not even knowing. So like, just key details of like, okay, because when you go into a shop, like I haven't been in a shop in so long, you don't know what you're walking into, right? Like, shop culture, I feel like, has changed. You literally like don't know. I'm so used to going to a suite. So going into a shop where it's like I actually feel comfortable, the people actually like each other and you can tell. And so you're received, like, I really appreciate that experience. But I want to just throw that in there because you downplaying, like, oh, I'm just make you feel comfortable. Nah, she
I
gets
want to
all
add
these
in mine
little
too.
marks. You have to. These little marks are so important because I was still thinking about it. Like, it may look expensive when you look at the price, but it's not. It's price. It's a priceless experience. Like, you're paying for so much more than to get your hair done.
Yeah.
But anyway, Donnie,
Thank
go ahead.
you. Thank you for that.
I like what you just said. Yes, a priceless experience. Yeah. I was that girl that day, which I tried not to be. I was that person. I was on my phone and I was on my laptop. I had so much going on that day when I came. And you was like super patient with me. You didn't like rush me off the phone. I was like, like, oh my goodness. You was just like, take your time. It's okay. Like, like, you was like, do you need me to do this? Turn this down. Like, you was washing my hair. I'm over here on the phone, like trying to figure out. It was so much going on that day. And I'm usually not her, but you was just super patient with me. Like, you was more accommodating to me. And to me, I don't like that when people do that, like be on their phone and doing the most. It's like, you came here for a service, but you were super accommodating. So I also recognize and see like these little things that you're installing. Like, yeah, sometimes it happens like that, but you can still feel comfortable. You can still come get your hair done. Even if you might have a little few meetings or work stuff you got to get done, so.
Yeah, I know my target audience as well. Like, I think that my target audience is women like you, that have things going on. I am her. I used to, especially when I was doing PR at the same time too. I will be with a little earpiece. I'm on a meeting. I'm braiding hair, and so I get it. So you guys are my target audience. That's why I only created 4 stations in there, because I still wanted that intimate vibes. That's why I picked the certain stylists that I do, because it's about the whole entire vibe. It's not just about, filling these booths in and making money. I've only ever worked in salons that were older women that has had their salons for 20, 30 years. So I learned a lot of game from that. So that's why that vibe you guys may feel is because this is from, women who have taught me the game and walked me through. But yeah, no. And that's why having the braiding hair is so important. in there for me. You guys come as is. I know you don't have time to stop by a beauty supply. You know, I know you don't maybe even need, know what hair you need to get. Like, there's so many elements that I have created to make you guys feel super accommodated and feel comfortable.
Yes, yes. You don't know how scared I was at first when I didn't see no washing bowl and I had showed up and I was like, oh my gosh. And I was texting my friend, like, I'm sitting here waiting on her to do my hair. And Sade starts right at the time that you're gonna get your hair done. If your appointment's at 9 o'clock, you're getting your hair done at 9 o'clock.
Thank
So
you.
I was
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, I can't even like this ain't like an old school hair shop where I could possibly run home and wash my hair if I needed to, like because they be running behind. I
Mm-hmm.
was so nervous and she was like, girl, it's right there.
Yeah.
I was like, whoo.
It's right there.
I was
I
so
want you
thankful.
guys to have the whole experience, like with braids. There's a stigma, and that's like I said, like before, that you're not just a braider. Outside of the other things, it's literally why I created the salon. I wanted to change the stigma around braiders. There's so many bad apples in the industry, and I wanted to make sure that the same way you feel like you're going to a spa or even getting a weave or whatever, I wanted you to feel that way with braids. It's still luxury service, even though there's a bad stigma around braids or braiders. So yeah, no, I want you to have your hair washed. I want you to know you're getting treatment. I want you to know you're feeling comfortable, like all those things. Yeah. Braids, there's not kitchen braiders. No, we ain't kitchen braiders no more.
I appreciate you for that. And so, as you reflect on your experience now being like where you are, how do you feel that your journey has impacted your mental health? Thinking about just like triggers that may come up, difficult days, even like the really good days. How do you feel like you manage your mental health as an entrepreneur?
That's a really deep question because I feel that as entrepreneurs, it's so connected to who you are as a person. The way I always say, the way you are in your personal life will reflect in entrepreneurship. So it's very important to me to keep myself intact, my mental health intact, because my literal livelihood is connected to that. So I've done therapy, just from, the trauma that I've mentioned earlier, which has also helped me through being a better entrepreneur. And as far as triggers, I make sure I create balance. I educate myself when it comes to just learning different ways I can cope, because I went from doing hair, worrying about just myself and my clients, to managing other stylists, and then now having two salons where I'm managing a bigger load of people, and just scaling. So every piece of adversity I just use to create it's an opportunity to learn.
That was so beautifully said. Every piece of adversity is an opportunity to learn. I'm gonna write that down for myself. Thank
Mm,
you.
absolutely. So do you think that everyone should be an entrepreneur? And yeah, what are your thoughts on this in general?
I couldn't wait for this. No, I don't want to be shady. But I think, no, I do not think everyone should be an entrepreneur. I mean, although I love, like, when the pandemic hit, everyone felt that, oh my God, I need to be an entrepreneur. But I feel that if you want to have like a side hustle, I feel like everybody should have something that they have ownership in, where they can create and, get profit from. But as far as the true embodiment of an entrepreneur, it is not fit for everyone. It's checks and balances, like, it's capitalism. It's all these things, to where it's just the ecosystem of life. Like, I feel that entrepreneurs, again, problem solvers, certain people have those attributes, some people don't. And I feel like without employees, you can't really have a business. So if everyone's an owner and an employer, who is going to be the employees? But outside of just that piece of it, it takes more than just creating a business and making money, to be an entrepreneur. it's a lifestyle, like it's in you, it's something you just totally embody. I knew as a little girl I was an entrepreneur, but also I feel that when I was working, 9 to 5s or odd jobs, I used those skills to make me a better entrepreneur as well. So it's nothing wrong with 9 to 5s or having a daily job, but if you're an entrepreneur, you know that this is just this moment for now to make me, to be an opportunity for me to learn and for me to use, as I become an entrepreneur.
Yes, we had to ask this question. I feel like that, it's the thing right now where everybody, like you said, especially like absolutely during COVID, it's like everybody's like, yeah, I'm gonna start this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And the fact of the matter is everybody's not supposed to be the same thing. And it's even making me think, and it's not saying that you can't have some of the skills of an entrepreneur, right? Meaning go ahead and continue working on those problem solving skills, continue working on your marketing skills, whatever it is. But that doesn't mean that you have to be an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
right? You can just continue, learning new skills. But it does not mean that you have to have ownership, and it's a lot of work. Even listening to you, just having to manage all those different pieces. So, thank you for being honest.
Yeah, and if I could add, just through my experience with being a different type of entrepreneur, like I said, from managing 2 salons now, I've had, different stylists come in that thought it was easy to just, okay, get in there and start your clientele or, to work. But I feel that the missing piece that I have consistently seen is that a lot of entrepreneurs do not understand the work aspect of it. Like, you really have to treat your business as a business. Like, you have to have certain things in place. You're your marketing person, you're your financial person, your accountant, you're literally everything. And so and you also have to continue to educate yourself. The game is changing. Literally, what was hot then or what you could do then is not how you can do then, to do now. And understanding your management skills. I throughout this entire time of me starting the shop and to now, I thought my management skill was this one. Now I'm like, oh no, that's not my management style. This is actually my management style. So yeah, you have to be aware, have to be a student to the game, and you just have to love it. Like, I love it. I have a conviction over entrepreneurship.
Yes, and we need you. We need it. So, I mean, as we're kind of talking about this, I feel like you've said some key points, but what have you learned the most about yourself during your entrepreneur journey?
I learned that I didn't have the best boundaries as an entrepreneur, well, as a person, which spilled into entrepreneurship. Just being too nice. And I know everyone says that, but like literally, just being too nice. But it really just all falls back to boundaries. I've always been great with money. I've always been creative as far as marketing and pushing my business. But really, that boundary piece, every lesson that God like puts in my face, it's always been boundaries. So I definitely learned that, okay, you can't give the benefit of doubt all the time, or you have to create some type of structure when it comes to this. But again, also giving myself grace that I'm learning as I go, but boundaries.
Yes, that is so key. Whew. Even for folks who maybe struggle with the money piece of things, boundaries with your money is also very
That is
key.
true.
Yeah.
That is
But
true.
as we wrap up, we ask all of our guests this, any takeaways you have for our listeners, and it could be anything.
Mhm. Um, Definitely boundaries, as that's a huge one that's personal to me. As an entrepreneur, learn your boundaries, and it's okay if you have to put them in place. The people who are for you, will be for you. We can't the world can't be our customers. You know, you have a specific target audience that is for you, that, you know, it's okay. Like, that's the relationship you need to have with them. And also just stay on top of your stuff. Like, always be proactive, you know, when it comes to finances, when it comes to you know, contracts, when it comes to everything, you know, always be one step forward and stay on top of your stuff.
Thank you,
Stay
Sade.
on top of it.
Do you want to drop a nugget about your book? You didn't share anything about it. Do you want to drop
Oh
a little
yeah,
nugget?
absolutely. This is New Growth, a journey towards wellness and self-worth. This was dropped September of 2022. Wow, went by fast. Yes, New Growth. I wouldn't really call it a memoir, but I do insert different pieces of my life experiences and just give my perspective on how I handled it. You know, things that I've done. And also, as I mentioned, being the only child and creating, I loved, you know, just creating worksheets and math problems and playing school. So I also have insert pages in there where there's, you know, activities where you can exercise some of the things that I mentioned in the chapter, and journal prompts and all those things.
I love that.
And you can get it on Amazon or my website, but my website will link to wherever you know, prefer to get your books.
And y'all, don't you have an oil hair care line?
So I partnered up with my partner Nina's Organics, and we have started a hair care segment throughout her, because she does a lot of body, skin type of products. So I helped her build her hair. But I am going to be working on something really, really special when it comes to just the nurturing of braids and building a hair care line that targets people who wear braids.
That is beautiful. I just had to, you know, nudge you a little bit because you are very humble. So, got to remind you.
Yes. I'm usually on the other side, pushing the talent to say, okay, hey, these are your notes, but it's different when it's you.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Oh,
No, I
thank you.
All right, y'all. So that was it for this week's episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. And as we share, Sade has a lot of great things. Highly suggest you go get your hair braided by her. And she's not like the new braiders where she don't wash her hair, she don't do X, Y, she don't do this, she don't do that. Just show up how you are, and you will get handled very well with care. And so that is it for this week's episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. And we hope that you all enjoyed.